Good morning, Notion. Let's talk about sports. My name is Squid, and welcome to another thing here on Good Morning Notion Sports called. This is my all-time NBA third team. So what this is if you don't know what an all-NBA team is, it's basically, by year they take the best players at position and make that team. So for me, this is basically, and there are three teams. So for me, I'm going to do this with all-time players. And starting off with the all-time NBA third team. So let's get started off at the point guard position, starting with Steve Nash. Steve Nash was not only one of the greatest orchestrators of, offense ever, he was actually one of the greatest shooters in my mind of all time. If you take a look at his career shooting stats, he shot 49% from the field, 42.8% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. That is the all-time highest for any player, shooting-wise at the free throw line. And another thing are his 50-40-90 seasons. 50-40-90 seasons where you shoot 50% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. And Steve Nash did this for 4 seasons, and he nearly did it for almost 8. So not only was he a very consistent shooter, he was consistently great. You know what I'm saying? He was a consistent, great shooter. Not to mention his passing highlights, his ability to create offense. Steve Nash, in my mind, is the third greatest point guard of all time. And that's why he made, all-time NBA third team point guard. Next up, shooting guard, Jerry West. I'm basically going to skip all of his regular season stats because they're impressive, but what I really want to get to are his playoff stats. Jerry West, for a career in the playoffs, averaged 29 points per game. That is third in all-time playoff scoring. That number is absolutely ridiculous. To average 29 points, for a career in the playoffs is absolutely ridiculous. And he did this in 153 playoff games. And I don't think anyone will forget his performance against the Knicks in the finals, where he hit that half-court buzzer beater to tie the game. Next up, small forward, Julius Erving. Oh, man. Dr. J, are you kidding me? Dr. J was absolutely phenomenal to watch. He didn't have much of a shooting touch, but when he drove into the lane, he could do just about anything. If you were a big man looking to get the block, watch out, because you were going to get dunked on. If you double-teamed him while you entered the paint, he would just go right over you and finger roll it in. And let's not forget his absolutely phenomenal reverse layup arm as long as the Empire State Building, flip it up over all the Lakers. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But it's really not what Dr. J did in the game. It's really what he did for the game. He basically changed the entire NBA, into what it's known as now. And if you want to know more about Dr. J, I would recommend watching The Doctor. It's a documentary on NBA TV, and it's really, really good. So I would recommend watching that. All right, next up, power forward, Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki is the all-time leading scorer for foreign players. Over his career, he has over 28,000 points. He is the only player in NBA history to have over 20,000 points, 1,000 steals, 1,000 blocks, and 1,000 threes. Dirk Nowitzki is actually one of the most efficient offensive players year in and year out. In fact, 2 years ago, a lot of people probably don't know this, but in the 2013-2014 season, he was the most efficient offensive player in the entire NBA. More efficient than LeBron, more efficient than KD, Curry, Paul, Melo, all those different guys. And Dirk topped them all offensively. And of course, we can't forget his Finals MVP in 2011. Last but not least, center, Kareem AbdulJabbar. Oh my goodness, what can be said about this guy? he's the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Now, I know what you might be thinking, he almost played 20 seasons, but all-time leading scorer, over 38,000 points, over 17,000 rebounds. Like, my mind is blown on how, like, unstoppable this guy was. If you would look back at the tape, you couldn't block that skyhook. Only 2 people have. So, it's just... And it amazes me how, even when he got in the older age, he was still able to do the types of things people today can't even do. In his last 4 seasons, he averaged 20 points per game. This is when he was an old man, for goodness sake. The man was playing at the age of 41, and he was still averaging 10 points per game. And that's why I've got him as my number 3 center of all time. Alright, so there you have it, folks. That's my all-time NBA third team. Next week I will do All-NBA second team, and then first team. Please let me know what you guys think about this, and give me your, all-time NBA third, first, and second teams. If you want to learn in-depth stats about these guys, you can go to basketballreference.com. Not a sponsor, it's just really, really good, and that's where I got all my stats for today's episode. Anyway, guys, that's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.